the corner now.
Mm-hmm. All right, man. It is
We're back.
9:27 on a Friday night. We're in week 2 of our new format,
Yeah.
Zoom being broadcast, simulcast on Facebook, simulcast on YouTube. We are official.
Official like a whistle.
Now we just need like the little. You ever seen like the people with the real podcast? They got the little mics and they got the little the what's the names, and we're gonna have to.
I've got all that stuff. You know what I need to do? I need to go in this room one day and just uh do our cast from there. Look official.
Yeah, we're gonna throw some officiality to it, but we had to start somewhere. So this is where we are. Let me go ahead and share this to my page.
Like let me log in while we're doing all that.
So we can do that. So uh we've been trying to figure out what we're going to talk about. We want to make sure we keep a interesting dynamic of topics because we can sit there and talk politics all day. We had our inauguration and all that, but we'll get by another week or so to kind of settle in, and kind of really figure out and get his feet from underneath him. And so, hopefully, those who do pay attention, we've been posting daily different topics and memes and conversation starters, and so one of the ones we can chat about tonight was about it's I don't know if y'all have seen those. It's a like a woman and a man, and then they like say something, and it's always something whatever. And so this particular one, lady asked him, you got a job? He's like, yeah, I drive trucks. No, what did he say? She said that, do you make a good living or something to that effect, right?
Uh-huh. Yep.
And he was like, yeah, I drive trucks. She's like, oh, you make a lot? He's like, yeah, I do good. And then the first thing after that was, well, my light's about to get, and then it cuts to him walking off. And so the topic of conversation is money and relationships. So at what point do you give money or can you give money? Do you offer up money? Do you ask for money? Is that proper if you're just dating? If it is, like how far into the dating spectrum does that happen? Even while you're married, if you keep your finances separate, do you have to ask for money or whatever? So we'll chat about that and our own different. I'm sure George has got many different experiences. I know I do.
There we
With
go, folks.
there it is.
Back it up. It looks like it's backwards on my end.
Back up a little bit more.
Whoop.
There you go.
Maybe that
So
folks
now
can
everybody sees what I'm talking about.
all
The young
these awesome memes.
exactly.
2020 is coming out with becoming meme king. Shout
Mean
out to Bernie
King.
Sanders.
Mean King. Um. Oh, before we go further, have to say, rest in peace, to the late great. Um, it's unfortunate that they're trying to tie his death to COVID vaccine now because he got the vaccine like 2 months ago or whatever, and now they're trying to say, well, that's what it was. But I mean, he was 86 years old, right? 80 is 86, 87.
Yeah, I think he's 86 and his birthday was like in the next week or so. So he would have been 87, I think.
87. Okay. I mean, the man was old, no telling what was going on, if anything else was going on. So, um, absolutely. So, yeah, we'll talk about that. And once again, rest in peace,
Absolutely.
to the late and great
Absolutely.
home run king of the Atlanta Braves. And so,
He inspired me to play. I'll tell you that. So,
absolutely. So, all right, George, you want to kick it off? We got some nice little audience here.
yeah. First off, turn your phone down because I can
Okay.
hear. I can hear. I can hear you about a minute and a half after you say whatever you're gonna say. So I mean, we're gonna talk about uh, money and relationships, and not in your standard. Hey, I've been with some such and such for um, you know years, maybe even an extended amount of months, things along those lines. but early in relationships. Um, you know, from my honest opinion, I believe that we are now a society of uh, hustlers and wannabe hustlers. And you know, I know in my dating career, I have come across a number of females who ask me for money early. And it's, of course, for me, I mean, I'm cheap already. So uh, it's a big red flag. So, uh, the question kind of to that meme standpoint is, hey, if when is the right time to ask? You know, should it be a red flag? Should it not be a red flag? Um, and I think we can go into different layers with this. Whether it's just overtly asking or whether it's kind of always needing or wanting.
Like the
Um,
begging type thing.
yeah, where it's like, okay, you need to go out and eat every day. You got to go out and eat every day. You
Mm,
know, I you can never use your car. You got to boot out in your car or something. I mean, let's talk about
yeah.
it. And I don't know if Eugene has experienced the same, but I mean, it's a concern.
Mm,
Okay, apparently so.
definitely.
It's a concern because I think there is that point where that may be. I just don't know. I mean, uh, in my opinion, it's not acceptable anytime soon if you're new to a relationship, and that's just and that goes back to maybe some of the what do you bring to the table type conversations that we also have posted. So I don't know. What's your take on money early in relationships, the dating phase? You all aren't even thinking about moving in with one another. Uh, you know, I would say let's get past the first date because hopefully that's not a conversation on the first date, but maybe it's that second or third date.
Yeah. So for me, it's a huge red flag. If you feel and if you like I said, we're past the first date, but we're not at the 10th date, right? So we're still in that getting to know you phase. We're still in that I'm trying to explore who you are. I may or not have explored your body yet. That may indicate some different things on where we are in this relationship. But the reality is, if you feel comfortable enough to say, you know what, here's this stranger, because frankly enough, that's what we are. We're strangers in that sense. Here's a stranger that I feel comfortable enough to ask money for. That's a problem. It's a huge red flag, and it's almost like like it's like those guys or women outside the gas station that harass you while you're getting gas. Some can I get $2 so I can get me a coffee or something, right? It's on that level of annoyance and on that level of audacity um, that you have to say, "Oh man, I can ask you for money, but we just started dating." Um, and so I would seriously really rethink any conversation or anything further with the young lady. Um, if that's what happens in the first couple dates. Hey, you know what? I just, my light's about to get well, you know what? I'm sorry, because if hadn't you not met me, your light still would have been cut off. Um, so, we can go to this candlelight orchestra thing and you can get some ideas on how to set that up. But the reality is that I don't think anyone, and you shouldn't feel that level of comfort because I just feel like if you're that comfortable with that, that means you've done it before, you're used to it, and either that or you plan to it, right? And I just think, I mean, just think about it if it was the other way around. You're dating a man and he's like, yo, boo, I know, I don't even know your last name yet, but I got this thing in the mail from Gas South that said if I don't get this paid, they're gonna cut my gas off. Like, and little Jimmy over here, he can't, it's cold in the house. And I mean, you would feel some type of way. And so I don't understand why is that, I guess, a double standard. if you will, because you would go straight to your group text with your girlfriend. Oh, let me tell you what this little broke nigga said to me. He had the audacity to ask me for some money. He had the audacity to sit there and say his gas about to get cut off. Same thing, but you can do that on the reverse side of things, right? And so, I know I got a lot of women that is, oh man, I'm not like that. It's not whatever. Listen here, George he's probably got more stories than I do. But I can tell you, in just in my early stages of dating here in Atlanta, that was a top one issue of things that caused me to ghost you if you asked me for money that early on. Now as we discussed, later on what that break point looks like and giving money or exchanging money or doing things, that's a different story. But in that early stage of dating, nah, player, that's a no-go for me, because it's a um it just shows that there's some lack of, I don't want to say sure immaturity in a sense, if you have to rely on dating and meeting new people to get your bills paid, because then there's a problem there. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think there is a, going back to that whole, hustlers and wannabe hustlers type situation. I think there are. I'm not going to say there's a lot of women, and I'm not going to, because I want to be clear. This happens both ways,
Yeah.
in many instances. So let's not just alienate women in particular. But I think there are a lot of people who are out in the dating scene in order to kind of find that come up, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, they've got. I mean, you can look on Facebook and type in "to catch a gold digger." There's like 12 different cats that that focus on that one theme. And they do. I mean, and they continuously find people, which I think is crazy, because it's like you yourself being the woman who is ultimately the I mean, I don't know if people call them the victim or not. You haven't seen this, it's like getting catfish. How are people getting catfish nowadays? As if that's not, as if it has been happening for however long, right?
Exactly.
I think there's an element of that in, maybe I don't really necessarily like this guy, or maybe I do like this guy or girl, but it'd be better if he spent $100 on the lights than if I put my $100 on it, if they say that they have it. And so that brings me to my next question. And I'm going to talk from a male's perspective, because I think we do this more often than not. Do we set ourselves up for these type of situations? And let me qualify it. So, I guess a portion of my dating life was finding people who were at bars or clubs. And so ultimately those are places where people, attempt to stunt, right? You dress up, we come from, I think, we come from that generation where stunning was the big thing, right? Even if you didn't have it, you just you had to show it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I know there was plenty of cats that I've seen it. I have friends that were this way, where they would have $400 or $500, in ones, maybe a couple fives in there, but it looks big. You know what I mean?
Fat. He got him wide. He got it wide.
Right. Sweating to make sure, hopefully nobody's waiting outside for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're inside talking about, they can buy this, they can buy that, they can get this, they can get that. They got the newest X, Y, and Z. But like we've been talking about it previously, but yet they go back to their mama's house,
mm-hmm.
to the basement, and they can't be too loud, because mama come down, slap them upside the head, because they don't really have nothing of their own.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, do we set ourselves up for stuff like this?
You mean in terms of just because we're being showboaty, I guess, and
yeah, because we're out here saying, hey, we can do X, Y, and Z. It's no thing. put it on the tab. It's not tricking if you got it.
Yeah.
You know. So, are there situations where you feel like we set ourselves up for that?
So I don't know. That's a good question because I think it ain't tricking if you got it is different from can you pay my bills, my telephone bills, my automobile, right? I think it's
Now, okay, hold on. It ain't tricking if you got it. For some of these cats, that's their moniker, and they really don't have. Maybe they have enough.
yeah.
They got layer one, but okay, well, I paid that telephone bill. Now my light's about to now my water's not gonna be hot because I can't pay the gas bill.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I guess how do you I guess I'll flip it back on you. How do you and this is for I guess not necessarily mature men because at my age, if I were dating now, I don't give a fuck what you think and how much you think I got. That's just what it is. But younger George and Eugene, at some point we wanted to is the male peacocks are the ones with all the feathers and the colors, right? And so at some point we want to be able to be not necessarily flashy, but we want to, hey, look, you know what? I got my little job here. I'm managing this auto zone. I'm rocking it out. Like I got a little change in my pocket, but I don't want a financial lifestyle, but know that I can go buy you a drink, swipe my card, and I don't have to sweat that it ain't gonna happen like that. That I ain't gonna get embarrassed. It ain't gonna bounce back. They ain't gonna have to run it 3 times with a plastic bag on it. That I know it's gonna go through. So I guess how does one show financial stability in that setting without triggering a response of, well, if it ain't tricking, he got it, which means he can pay my bills now.
Yeah,
And I offer to buy you a drink.
So I think that's a good question, and it's gonna be difficult to answer to a point.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the peacocks are gonna be the peacocks, right? And you'll never know really what they have until you have that serious conversation. And I think that goes back to the rest of the answer for your question is the conversation has to be had before I feel like you should be even willing or thinking about asking someone, to help you with your financial situation.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And you also have to be in that right, position within, a relationship. Second and third date, absolutely not. I'm not worried about you like that.
Yeah.
And things along those lines because anybody can buy a drink. Anybody can do those things, but it takes a special person to know, hey, I'm gonna make this a limit. You know what I mean? I'm not about to go out here and buy from bars and the other. And I get it. In my early 20s, had a little money in my pocket, more money than I'd ever seen before. You want to go out there and do your thing. You want to show off. You want to be flashy. Hell, I was like that to a point. There were plenty of times, I bought more drinks than I could drink, and so, you want to show that you don't want to show that you're going to be, I guess, in my case, you don't want to show that you're going to be cheap all the time, but the conversation will be had, when it comes down to it, that, hey, there's a limit to this, and I don't, and I was a bad person. I mean, no, I'm not going to say I was a bad person. I didn't date well because I looked for people in wrong places. Like, I'm not a clubber, but I went to clubs, right? So if I'm taking someone that I met from a club home and they club all the time, that doesn't make any sense from someone who doesn't really like that. So I'm going out here to find you and just to tell you, hey, don't go clubbing so much. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
So is that then? So is it a disqualifier from? Is that an automatic? Hey, look, as soon as you ask me for money, I'm out. Like that. That's it.
For me, Yeah,
Okay.
kind of. I mean, if we're not in that same if we're not in that space, because here's my thing: if we're vibing enough and we've had enough of conversations, and I understand your situation, this, that, and the other, and I felt like that assistance was needed, then I would probably come to you first and be like,
Yeah.
hey, I know you're struggling. I know you got X, Y, Z going on, so on and so forth. Let me help out. It's different than when it's like, hey, let me get that. The light bill is late. And to your point, it's like, okay, well, the light bill was late before you called me. So, uh, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to catch you up? I'm not catching you up. Because I mean, and is it a red flag for me? It really is, because then that's like, okay, well, now I know you're not working your finances right. Because hell, where did I find you? But not find you in the club, and then you don't have heat because the gas turned off. You're taking cold showers. No, man. So there's a lot of layers to that, and I don't think there's a lot of cats. And I don't think there's a lot of women that really look at relationships like that as well, where it's like you try to fabricate something, or try to fabricate something, uh, you know, about this certain person because they're attractive. And I will say, attractive women get away with a lot more shit.
They do.
So let's go ahead and get that out of the way. Plenty of conversations with cats who have been in relationships, horrible relationships, just because you know
She was cute.
dragging the wagon. That's right.
You got a little fatty.
That's right. She's dragging that wagon. It's like, So I don't know.
For me, I have it's always been, and I'll go back. It's just been a sign of immaturity. And you made a great point, because I was gonna say exactly that. Like if you're truly in a relationship, and I know what's going on, and we're intimately involved in each other's doings and goings, like I know if you're struggling, right? And so if I care about you, I'm not going to allow you to have to come to me and ask for something. I'm going to offer it up. Now, I say that with an asterisk, right? So if it's COVID, you lost your job, this and that, I got you. We're going I care about you to some degree. Now, I'm not going to finance your life, but hey, look, I can go put gas in your car so you can go drive this DoorDash and get this money so you can pay your bills, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to sit there and you're going to be this sugar baby, sugar daddy, kind of thing going on, cuz one thing Eugene Lamar Overton is not going to do is finance anybody's lifestyle. And so, and that's even in marriage. That ain't happening.
All right. Yeah. Whatever.
But no, it's but yeah, I think for me, it's an automatic disqualifier. And you'd be and the women that are listening, you would be surprised at the number of professional women in Atlanta that on the surface they got JDs, they got PhDs, they got MDs, they got all these D's, not educationally speaking, in their life, and they got everything on the surface. They look good, talk good, smell good, got the great resume, but they don't know how to manage their money, or they don't know how to manage their resources. And I had one young lady, I tell you, she worked for the DOD, and she had, like, I don't know, a MS or something in like civil engineering or whatever. She had like her top secret security clearance. Like, chick was bad, right? And she called me. I remember walking in. I was in Target. You remember the Murder Kroger? Or not Target, but Kroger down in what's the name? So this is when I lived downtown. So I was in Murder Kroger, and she called me, and she was like, "Yo," and she was needing a new phone, and this is back in like early 2014 or whatever. So I had an iPhone 4 that I had gotten from work, and I think the new iPhone 7s just came out or something. And she was like, "I need a new phone. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do." Like, I was like, "Well, what's wrong with the one you got?" Well, it's fine, but you know the new ones just came out, and you know this one's running a little slow. I said, well, just go get your new phone. Oh, but mine's out of warranties, and I got to in order to trade it back, it's gonna cost like $200. So now, like, this is all running red flags, right? Like, I'm already my spidey senses tingling. Like, you called me to tell me about this phone, and she's like, I said, well, I mean, again, I'm like, well, what's wrong with the one you got? Oh, it just, just runs a little slow and this and that. And finally, she was like, do you think you can get me a phone? I said, well, we're talking right now on my free phone that I got from work. That's an iPhone 4. And then my personal phone is like I don't know, like a Samsung 6 or something, whatever was out at that time. I said, I've had this phone for like 4 years. Like, I mean, it'd be kind of awkward for me to buy you a new phone while we're talking on a free phone.
Right.
Uh, and well, you just don't, and it causes whole, you don't understand. And she was literally crying on the phone. And I'm sitting here thinking like what in the world is going through your mind? Now, mind you, like we are invested, I've known her for, I don't know, 10, 15 years at this point, but we just started kind of meshing that into a romantic interest. But like she's sitting there crying on the phone about some damn phone. And I'm like, you're not that cute, boo. Like to be sitting here dry, like not dry begging, but asking for some money for this phone. And it was at that moment I realized like this is like a legit, like here it is, someone, she's a very attractive young lady, but has all of the different things on the surface that look good, and to any other man would have probably been like, oh man, I got you. Like you said, tricking ain't tricking if you got it, right? And she's probably used to that. And it caught her off guard that here was somebody saying, nah, I can't, I'm not gonna do that. And so and we've probably shared maybe 8 lines of words since then, you know. And it's just it's a lack of maturity on that I've just seen, and even in professional women who just don't know how to manage their money. They're making 6-figure incomes, but can't figure out how to pay their bills correctly. They got some lifestyle, especially in Atlanta,
Oh
some
yeah.
lifestyle they're trying to maintain.
Yeah.
So
No, Atlanta is most definitely a lifestyle place, right? Like it's it's it it's crazy to me, and maybe it's crazy to me because maybe it's my nature because I've never been a big city person, right? I've always liked having access to the city, but there was never a point in time where it was like I need to be in the city. Like I don't understand someone saying, "Hey, I've got a $1,200 apartment, uh,
mm,
rent bill, and I'm splitting that with another guy who's paying $1,200 for another room in the same place." Like that blew my mind first time someone told me that about Atlanta. When I moved back, I moved up to Kennesaw. My rent was 775, and it was
no way.
uh, yeah, 775, and the apartment was just under 1,000 square feet. Like, I mean, it was dope.
Yeah.
And so, when I started hearing these things, it's just like I can see why people are constantly in, kind of these bad situations, right? Like, yeah, we got plenty of lawyers, plenty of doctors, plenty of, famous or on the surface, um, you know, I guess affluent people downtown, but that doesn't always translate to the lifestyle that you want to portray and
Mm.
that you really want. I guess is the way that it comes out. So, I mean, if you're making 6 figures, you're living downtown, and you're struggling, then that's a problem. You can do better in other places, but no, neither here nor there. And so I think that was a really good example. Um, you know, I've got my worst example, and I think it still sits with me even to today. Is a young lady that I was dating. We had kind of split up you know, she had a death in the family. And that death in the family I knew was going to put a dent in her finances. And this was the only time in my entire life where I was like, let me help you out financially. And I reached out. I said, hey, you know, I know you were getting, you know, basically, you know, a check from this person because it was a family member that was living with there. You know, if you need any help, just in the interim, just let me know. You know, I'll take care of it. Said, yeah, for sure. And then she told me, yeah, you can pay X, Y, and Z. And I said, okay, when do you plan on paying me back? And I said,
Run me my money, boo.
Right. I said, that's fine. And you can, and we can talk about how you're gonna pay me back. It wasn't gonna be one of those things where you gotta pay me back all in one. I'm okay with installments, you know, and everything along those lines. But you know, maybe that's not relevant to what we're talking about now, because we weren't together, but we had, you know, I mean, before that, there was never any situation where it was like, oh, can you buy this or can you buy that? She took care of all her stuff. She had her own place. I had my own place, and everything along those lines. And I remember when I said, you know, okay, well, I would just need to know when you plan on paying me back. She was like, well, you should just give it to me. And I was like, oh, okay. And I stopped talking to her that same
day. So for you, her talents, for her saying that she just thought it was going to be a gift was it then?
I mean, there's a fine line between gift and not gift, right? You know, we didn't break up on. I mean, well, we didn't stop dating. I'm not gonna say break up. We didn't stop dating on bad terms, but they weren't great terms, also. Mm-hmm. And you know, fact of the matter is, you know, we didn't have much of a relationship before that, right? So it wasn't like this was like a lifelong friend. We tried dating, it didn't work out, right? It was just, hey, tried dating, it didn't work out. You know, during that time, I met a lot of people. You know, I know the person that passed was important to you. You know, they helped you out in a certain, you know, in a certain way as well. And, you know, here I am trying to help you fill the gap, and make sure you're good to a point. And, you know.
So is that ever a situation?
Maybe I'm wrong. I can let people
let them figure it out. So, I mean, is there ever a situation you would have given it up and not expected repayment?
That would have been based on a dollar amount.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, talking about 100 here, maybe 200 if I'm really not paying attention.
Yeah.
But if I'm not mistaken, there was what he had asked for was over $300, and I was like, oh, okay. I said, I got it. However, you know, we need to figure out how this is going to get repaid, because that's we live together type money. Yeah. You know, we go together type money. We ain't going together. No.
So would you ever? So all right. So what if a woman approached you with and I think you alluded to something about this earlier, but hey, you're going to spend X amount on a date. How about we just, you know, Netflix and chill, and you know, you just slide me that $40 or whatever. That'd be a red flag for you.
Hold on, say it again.
So you're dating a young lady, right? And she's like, you know what? You asked her, hey, I'm gonna take you to Lobster and Chop House in Buckhead, and she say, well, you know what? How about we just stay home, or you come to my house, I'll cook, we can Netflix and chill, and the money that you save, if you can just give that to me, you know, to help me out with X, Y, and Z bill or whatever.
Has that happened to you?
That's never happened to me. But
Okay.
I'm just curious if that were to happen, how would you react? Is that different?
I will tell you exactly how I would have reacted in every stage of my life. I'd said, "Oh, okay, I'm just gonna stay here."
Okay.
No, I mean, come on, man. Like, I've got very kind of strict. No, I mean, there are some things that I'm very strict on, right? So if I'm gonna take you out, and if I invite you out, come out and enjoy yourself. That's
Yeah.
how I look at it. Even if someone asks me out, I mean, I guess I'm southern enough where it's like I'm gonna pay for it probably anyway.
Either way.
If I decide to go, I'm gonna pay for it, right? But to say, oh well, we didn't go out, so now you can just pay me what you, bitch. I'm not, I'm not, you're not a server, come on, man. I mean, I think it would have been even more of a red flag to me because it was like, okay, so you'd rather give you money
Yeah.
than than hey, let's have a nice conversation with and a nice night out with one another, and all of that. You know what I mean? I mean, like, okay, so we save 40 today so we can spend 80 the next day. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
If you're not thinking about it that way, then I already see where this is going, right? And so, yeah, I hope no one has ever done that or experienced that because that would have thrown me for an entire loop.
I
I
don't
would have
think I would
blocked.
have reacted. I would have probably been shocked and awed and like, huh. But then that gets into the whole. I've heard guys make that whole the prostitute angle with that. They're like, well, I'm gonna go pay for her to do X, Y, and Z anyway. I can go just slide her this 40 and get the buns, if you will, and then I don't have to worry about all the rigmarole. So I,
Man,
I personally wouldn't do it because I mean I think dating it's the experience. It's not necessarily what we're doing or like the money that's being spent. It's the experience and the interactions that we have during the date. I don't always just want to. If I'm dating with the purpose, I don't always just want to come to your house and sit on the couch and watch TV.
right.
That's boring, and then it's probably going to lead to something else, and then that's all we're doing. Then I don't get to know you. I don't get to understand who you are. I'm not dating with the purpose at that point. We just fucking. And it's fun for a while, but sometimes you get old and you ain't trying to do that all the time. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Let's see what your interests are. Who you be
Right.
with. You know? So yeah, I don't know. So all right, well, let me ask you this then. So now
All right.
you're on a date, you're on the date,
Mhm.
and you go somewhere, you know, nice or fancy, I guess, somewhere other than I guess Fuddruckers. I don't know if y'all old enough to remember Fuddruckers. But is there a dollar limit that or is there an amount that's probably unacceptable or menu items that are unacceptable for someone to order on a date?
You're talking about the fucking menu, the fucking side of the menu. Oh man.
I mean, so let me clarify that, right? So you can, I get it. You take somebody to a restaurant, you should know what those prices are and be able to afford anything on there. But is there a point to where it's like, come on now, come on, shorty, like you don't even know what escargot is,
right.
let alone ordering 8 entrees of it. Come on.
So I can only speak to me personally because I want to say that because I will reiterate that I am when I say that I'm Southern, I'm very rural Southern. So if I ask you out and I take you out, more than likely I'm probably choosing the restaurant. More than likely I probably know what I'm getting into, right? Like I took a young lady out. I can't remember the name of the place out in Roswell. Awesome restaurant. I love the place. I think it's a restaurant in a bourbon bar also. And I knew it was expensive. But I wanted to go. And I've just, and very few things that people know about me is I hate eating alone. I hate eating dinner alone. Let's go ahead and qualify that. And so, this is the first time going out with this young lady. This place is super expensive. I knew what I was getting into. So, even when she got there, she was just like, wow, this is, kind of expensive. I was like, you know what? I mean, I invited you, whatever you want. We did the appetizer thing, did the dessert thing. It was an expensive bill.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, if I ask you out, then you probably don't have much, many of the limits. Now, what I will say is, I kind of take heed of what you're doing with the things that you order. So, if it's one of those, I am going to order something and then I'm going to take 2 bites of it and I'm just being wasteful.
Yeah.
That shit gets to me. And I don't like that. And matter of fact, I dated a girl in college that did that. And, it was once we had a conversation, it was a deeper thing where she was like, I don't want to seem like I'm, being wasteful or things like that, but I also don't want to seem like I'm being fat or gluttonous also. And so she would not eat so much in front of me. She would take it home and then she would actually eat it. And I was like, what is this? What's going on here?
Okay.
And it was like, no, I want you to enjoy yourself. I want you to, to eat and, and have your time. So that was a fairly good relationship that I had. One of fairly good relationships I had in college. But yeah, for me, I probably wouldn't have a limit. There probably wouldn't necessarily be a fucking side menu that night. I did not get any, if anybody cared to hear. But I will say, on the flip end, if it was someone asking me to go to a certain place that I knew was expensive, then I would be asking questions, maybe I wouldn't be asking questions, but I would be monitoring what everyone was doing.
Yeah.
But once again, very traditional Southern. So if I'm not asking you out and you're telling me where we're going, that's already putting me in a place that's not familiar. You know what I mean? So what about you?
I got something on that, but Steve asked the question. So he's like, do you pay for all the dates? And so I put in there for me, generally, when I was dating, even if you ask me on it, unless it's like an activity, but if it's like going out to dinner or something, like unless you were just adamant on here, they need to take my card or whatever the case may be, more than likely I would, I'd pay. And it would just feel weird to me not to. It's just like I don't, I get it. We can be 27 dates in and I didn't pay for every single one of them. That's and Steve brought that's an investment that you're making as a man into the relationship. Now, hopefully, we're not going, spending $300 every time we go out to eat either. That we can run up and get some, and look, you can go up to Herbs, and get a
best ribs you ever had in your life.
Best ribs you ever have, a whole rack and 48 or 24 tips for $24, and we can eat good for 2 nights in a row. So I mean, you don't have to be hella expensive. We can cook and do all the other things, but for me, generally, I just feel weird, I guess. And this could be, I'm not as southern as you, but I don't know. Maybe it's just a pride thing. Just having somebody do something for me like that. So
Yeah,
generally,
no, I mean, I agree 100%. I mean, I would say more often than not, and I have been in situations where I was dating someone who made more than I did, and I would still pay. But I mean, to go back to my roots, to go even, just look at my family structure, right? So my grandfather on my mom's side, he worked. My grandmother didn't work, so he always provided. That's what I saw. Same situation on my father's side. My mom, for a good stretch of my schooling years didn't work because it was just cheaper for us to be at home and for her to be at home. So, um, it made sense, or it just made sense to me that, hey, uh, if I have it and I can do it, then I will, and that's
Yeah.
just what it was. So I would say, have I had dates that were paid for by dates? Probably not in the beginning. I would say they've always been in relationships. I will say that. So, um, yeah. Well, no, I don't know. Maybe if there was, I mean, it would fit on one hand if I was actually truly dating someone and they uh paid for the date,
Yeah.
100%, especially. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's just different. But anyway, get back to what we are talking about. So I'm gonna tell you this other story, right? So I was dating this girl. I wouldn't even say dating. I think this is like our first date, second date. No, this was our second date. And I think I met her on Tinder. So I don't know if there's like a Tinder thing, but that this is just anywho. We go to you remember Two Urban Licks? You ever heard of that? Down
Mhm.
in Midtown. So Two Urban Licks is a nice ambiance of a restaurant, right? It's a nice spot. You got the valet service, and they got the like Hell's Kitchen type of thing. To those who don't know
Yeah,
what
that's a place that's like it's like it feels like you're kind of in a maybe like a warehouse,
Yep.
real dark and things like that. Okay, yeah.
Yep. They got the kitchen right in the middle. You can see them cooking and all that other stuff. So Two Urban Licks is nice. And it's one of those things that you've probably got like, maybe 10 items on the menu. And that's it. And the numbers on there aren't the weights of the items, it's the price. They all start the entree, the appetizers, everything starts with a 2, and the entrees, everything starts with a 4. Like it's just this is how it is, right? So anywho, I knew what I was getting into. I thought the little young lady was cute. And I was like, all right, bet, we're gonna be fancy. And my condo was right down the street. I'm like, this is right. This is gonna happen. And so we get there, and she's looking at the menu, and she's looking at this wine list. Now, I'm all down if you want to get a glass of wine, fine, whatever. This chick has a little hood in her. So she don't know fine wine from nothing. You can give her a glass of I don't know, some E&J, and she'll never know. Some gold duck, some cold duck, and she wouldn't know the difference, right? So she's looking at these wine list, and she's like, "Oh, maybe we should just get a bottle of this." And so I'm looking at this bottles of like Pinot Noir or something. It's like $400. I'm like, well, shit. Now, if she got it, I would have paid for it. We would have drank it and had fun and kept it moving. But me being the frugal person I am, I'm like, I'm sweating. I'm like, this better not order no damn bottle of wine. So I'm sitting there trying to like talk her out of it. Well, oh man, you know what? I don't really drink wine. Like you're gonna have to drink the whole bottle yourself. And we can go get us a nice little bottle and take back to the house. That's what you really want. But we probably just they got some really good craft drinks, and we should just try and she's like stuck on wanting to order something or looking at it and just intrigued. And I'm like, this is where I'm at right now. Like here it is, and I don't know. She was I think, and I preface this, so don't anybody shoot me down. I'm not trying to demean or anything what her profession was, but at the time she was a security guard at the Georgia Power Building in downtown Atlanta. So, it's not like she was in her professional career at the moment. And so I don't know what security guards make, but I'm sure it's not $400 bottle of wine money. I'm assuming. And so here my say that to say, here she was attempting to put herself in a situation to where if I were to leave or my card got declined, that she more than likely would not have been able to carry that out for herself. And so, is that is that a real thing? And it's only happened to me once that I know of, or that I can think of, where someone I think was just ordering just to try some shit out because they knew someone else was gonna pay for it. But being in a situation where someone is clearly doing something above their means just because they know, hey, George is gonna pay for it. He got it. I'm gonna go try this. I don't know what this tastes like. What is filet mignon? Filet? Yeah, I want two of those. You know, it's just it just threw me for a loop that you are really gonna. Because what if I didn't have it? What if do women really do that? Do they put themselves in situations to where, well, you know what? I guess we washing dishes tonight, or something's gonna happen. Like, I don't know if I would ever put myself in a situation where I'm gonna do something and I can't afford at least mine, and then that way, if you don't come through, then what? I don't know.
You know what? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna blame you.
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna blame you, man. It's your fault. What was you bringing her up to Two Urban Licks for, anyways, when she should have been over at the Applebee's?
Well, it was a for me. I was.
You was over there trying to trick.
I was peacocking for sure. I was definitely peacocking. Like, I can't lie about it. Like, I was definitely trying to flex some. Listen here, boo. We're gonna go somewhere where there's not 2 for $20 on the menu. I got it. I can do that. But I wasn't expecting her to say, "Oh, nigga, you got it? Bet. Let me call you on that. Let's call your bluff and really see what happens." And I wasn't prepared. And not that I wasn't financially prepared. I wasn't mentally prepared for that. And I had to learn really quick. So this was early in my dating career, like like my dating career in Atlanta, that I had to tone down my flex, because I was like, yo, these women are gonna take advantage of it, and I can't do it. I'm not gonna wanna. Nah, not at all. I had to lower my expectations for dating. I mean, we still went. I still don't do the Chili's or whatever. Like, we would go to other random spots, but it wouldn't be, nah, player, nah, not where we about to go spend a mortgage on a restaurant bill. Mm-mm.
Did she buy that wine? Did she get that bottle of wine?
She did not. I talked to. She got some. They really did have some really good craft drinks. They had like some peach tree nectar martini something. That really was great. She enjoyed it. Which, by the way, y'all, I still didn't get none that night. She had to just go home, and that's another story for another day. But she spent the night at my house. I didn't get any, but she ended up leaving like in the middle of the night. But yeah, anywho, so she so yeah, I didn't it's yeah, I learned really quick that I cannot peacock in Atlanta, because these women, they bout the shits. They gonna take advantage of it, and they gonna try it out. So I had to start being creative in my dating.
See, I have been fortunate to never be in a situation quite that bad. I have been in situations where, the person I was with was, they would order too much or too many. You know what I mean? Like, I have a. I guess we'll have to talk about our personal pet peeves later. But I have a personal thing with, if you're gonna go out, and you're, to have a date and enjoy yourself, getting tipsy is okay, as long as somebody is okay to drive, or, where we got a Uber planned or whatever. But getting sloppy drunk is something that is a big turn off to me, right? Just period. And so it most definitely been one of those where it's like, well, you want another drink? Haven't you had enough? And it was like, you don't tell me that you had enough, that I've had enough. And it was like, oh, okay. And when I say, oh, okay, then that means
that's it.
I gotta go. It's time to go. So, but Now, that was a good one, man. But it was your fault.
It was definitely my fault, and like I said, I learned the art of peacocking is not it's not the business in Atlanta.
See, this is where uh, if you're tricking it, it ain't tricking if you got it goes wrong. Because you probably could have covered the bill, right? But then you'd have been driving home.
I would have been sick. I probably, even though it wouldn't have, my bills would have been paid, everything would have been good, like it wouldn't have been a problem. I would have probably like avoided any expenditure for the next 3 weeks, just so in my mind I can make up for this $500 bottle of wine this chick got, and then would have been even more upset when she left that next morning and then didn't. Yeah. So
Right.
and I should say, before y'all judge me, dating at that level in my life was that having sex, that was not I didn't date for that, or I didn't take you out just for that to happen. I'm not shallow. I was dating with a purpose. It's just that it was expected. Is it? But yeah, it was a God. I don't know what she's doing.
No, you don't.
Not in that. Not in that sense. Like you know what? Because I've got like 1,000,001 dating stories, and I'm always curious as is my take on the situation, what their response is, or what they thought about it. Because for her, she probably didn't think twice about it. She was just like, "Oh, this is nice." You know, he's taking me here. Clearly, it ain't tricking if he got it right. He's out here doing his thing, and so.
See, I think it's funny when, and I don't know this person obviously or whatever, but with my Roswell story, the person I took out probably never been to a nice restaurant like that before, right? So she was in like admiration, like, wow, I've never done something like this, and she didn't want to essentially f it up, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm taking her there. But then there's the other side of the coin, like you just had, where it's like, I don't ever come here, so I'm about to just wild out right now.
I'm about to fuck up some commas on this nigga Discover card. That's exactly what we about to do.
Right. And so that's I don't know. We'll have to do a whole segment on or let people know who we are and what type of women we tend to attract and this, that, and the other. And I mean, all my buddies back in the day will tell you I was never did I date for the one thing? Yeah, I think I tried to, but I was always one of these guys that I was still nice. Like I'm not a mean person.
Yeah.
And so that it always translated to more than what I was expecting to get out of it. For better or for worse, whenever it comes down to it. And so, I still have people talking to me about different folks, and they still talk shit about me and everything. So, it is what it is. So, yeah. I don't know.
Well, I guess
we're
about at an hour, so I guess we can wrap it up. I know for me, in conclusion, so the title was it's $40 enough, right? So if you're a single woman out there and you're dating, I don't and be mindful of how you interact with the man or your potential suitor when it comes to money. Especially if you're asking for it or dry begging or putting yourself in a situation to where you feel comfortable. Make sure that you read the room, you understand where you all are, because you don't want to overstep your boundaries, I guess, if you will, when it comes to that. So read the room, understand the person that you're with, and if it's too early on, then it's too early on. You got friends, you got family, go that route. Don't risk losing a good man or woman. Whatever your flavor is, but don't risk that because you feeling too comfortable about a situation. So
All right. I guess my little final thought is make sure your house is in order before you go out here dating people. For sure. You know, uh, well, I'm sure we'll talk in further, in future podcasts about finding a mate and this, that, and the other. But if there was one thing I would say in the dating thing is, you know, people are going to show you who they are early, and just believe. That's how I look at it. I think Maya Angelou said it more eloquently than I did, but basically that's what she used to say. People will, they'll tell you who they are the first time, believe them the first time, don't give them the second time to show you, whatever. So if someone's going to use you and try to, get money out of you, for their own personal gain, then they're going to do it the next time. They're going to continue to do it the time after that.
Yep.
So it's just not worth it. I think Steve brought up a good point, with, putting, your dating time should be an investment in the future, right? And it should not be a situation where you feel obligated to do anything that you don't feel comfortable with. And if it doesn't work out the first time, you should go ahead and get rid of it, because that just means that, you're staying in something that's, or basically you're missing out on the person that you probably should be with by trying to stay with this person. No matter how big her booty is, no matter how big her breasts are, no matter what her shape is. And this will be the theme that I will say on every relationship podcast that we have. The part you think is just so X, Y, and Z bad, there's someone probably the same way that will mesh with you better.
Mm-hmm.
And you just have to go out and, take the time to find that person. And so that's what I firmly believe. Plenty of women out there with big booties, plenty of guys that will satisfy all you women the way that you want. You got to find the right one for you, because not all of them are for everyone. Let's put it like that. No. We'll see y'all next Friday.
Yeah, and don't be out there dating broke.
Yeah. Don't be out there writing checks just.
All right. I'm going to stop that.